The same insulin that keeps a diabetic alive costs $30 in Canada. In America, $300. Same drug, same manufacturer. You can have the prescription and you can have the money, but you still can't buy it at a fair price. And the reason why is basically a masterclass in legalized corruption. And it's not just insulin. An asthma inhaler that costs $380 in the US is $50 in the UK. A cancer drug that runs $12,000 a month here is $40 in Australia. We're talking 10, 20, sometimes 50 times more for the exact same medication, made in the same factories by the same companies. The only thing that changes is the country you're standing in. So why not just drive to Canada and buy your insulin? Because it's illegal. It all goes back to 2003 and the Medicare Modernization Act. Buried inside that law were two provisions that changed everything. First, it made it illegal for Medicare, the largest drug purchaser in the country, to negotiate prices with pharmaceutical companies. Imagine the military being told it couldn't negotiate the price of a tank. It's insane, but that's literally the law for our medicine. Second, the act made it illegal to import cheaper prescription drugs from other countries. Try to bring back that $30 insulin and customs will take it. Order it online and it gets seized at the border. The government says it's about safety, but it's the same pill from the same factory. The only difference is the price tag. So who wanted this law? Between 2000 and 2023, Big Pharma spent over $8 billion lobbying Congress. In 2023 alone, they dropped $372 million. With 535 members of Congress, that's nearly $700,000 per member in 1 year. The industry employs over 1,800 lobbyists, more than 3 for every single member of Congress, and many of them are former government staffers. They help write the laws, leave their government jobs, and then get hired by the very companies they used to regulate. Look at insulin. The scientists who discovered it in 1921 sold the patent for $1 because they wanted it to be accessible to everyone. $1. But today, a vial that cost $25 in 1996 costs over $275, a 1,000% increase for the same drug. That's because just 3 companies, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Sanofi, control the entire U.S. market, and instead of competing, they raised prices in lockstep so aggressively they were sued for price fixing. People have died rationing a medicine whose patent was sold for $1. But it gets worse. Between you and the drug company is a middleman called a pharmacy benefit manager, or PBM. They're supposed to negotiate lower prices, but here's what they really do. The drug company sets an artificially high list price, say $300. Then the PBM negotiates a massive secret rebate, maybe $200. But that rebate doesn't go to you. The PBM keeps a huge chunk, and your insurance copay is calculated off the fake $300 list price, not the real cost after the rebate. And here's the final insult. Your pharmacist can be legally banned from telling you any of this. They're bound by gag clauses. If your prescription costs $80 through insurance, but only $40 if you paid cash, the pharmacist may not be allowed to tell you. They could be fined. The system is designed so you never even know you're being overcharged. Even apps like GoodRx, which seem to help, can end up selling your private medical search data to advertisers and data brokers. It's a system built on secrets, from a law bought by lobbyists to a rebate scheme hidden by middlemen. And the price isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in lives. So why doesn't Congress just fix this? Why are you paying hundreds of dollars for a prescription that costs pennies to make? Because pharmaceutical companies own Congress. It's that simple. In the 2022 election cycle alone, the pharma industry spent over $115 million on campaign contributions, and they didn't pick a side. They gave money to both parties. Anyone with a vote on drug pricing got a check. And you see the result every few years. Someone proposes the obvious solutions, let Medicare negotiate prices like every other country does, or let Americans import cheaper, safe drugs from Canada, every single time the bill mysteriously dies. In 2021, Congress finally passed a law they celebrated as a huge victory, allowing Medicare to negotiate prices on 10 drugs, just 10 out of thousands. It's a joke. And while they were passing that toothless bill, the top 10 pharma companies were raking in over $110 billion in pure profit. If you need proof that this whole thing is rigged, look at what Mark Cuban did in 2019. He started a company called Cost Plus Drugs, and the model is ridiculously simple. Sell generic drugs at the actual manufacturing cost plus a flat 15. That's it. No insurance games, no secret middlemen, just transparent pricing. And the results are staggering. A common drug that costs $400 at your local pharmacy is $15 on Cost Plus. A life-saving cancer drug that retails for $9,000 is $40. It's the exact same pill from the exact same factory. The only thing missing are the layers of middlemen and lobbyists who get rich off your sickness. Cost Plus Drugs proves the system is a scam, but here's the catch. They can only sell generics. For brand name drugs, the ones you see advertised on TV, you're still stuck. The original manufacturers hold patents, and they use every legal trick in the book to extend those patents for decades, blocking cheaper generics from ever reaching you. And let's be clear about who this hurts. A recent study found that 1 in 4 Americans has skipped filling a prescription because they couldn't afford it. 1 in 4. That's not a statistic, that's a national tragedy. People are dying because they have to ration their insulin. Heart patients are skipping doses and risking a stroke. Cancer patients are forced to choose between the treatment that could save their life and paying their rent. And the lie that holds this all together is that these high prices are necessary to fund research and development. It's nonsense. A Yale study found that a vial of insulin costs about $5 to manufacture. And it sells for $300. That's a 6,000% markup. The truth is, big pharma companies spend far more on marketing and advertising than they do on R&D, and most truly breakthrough drugs don't even come from them. They come from research at universities funded by your tax dollars. The drug companies just buy the patents and then charge you a fortune for the medicine you already paid to invent. So here's the bottom line. You can't buy your prescription drugs at a fair price, not because they're expensive to make and not for safety. It's because a $300 billion industry paid our politicians to keep it that way. The law literally prevents you from buying cheaper drugs from other countries. Medicare is banned from negotiating for almost all medicines, and a whole ecosystem of middlemen skim massive profits while you pay 10, 20, or 100 times what everyone else in the world pays. This isn't healthcare, it's extortion. So now you know. Next time they charge you $300 for something that costs $30 everywhere else, you'll know exactly why. Because someone paid a fortune to make sure you can't buy it any cheaper. If this made you realize how corrupt the system is, hit subscribe, because next week I'm exposing why you can't buy concert tickets at face value anymore. The Ticketmaster monopoly makes drug companies look honest. Drop a comment and tell me what industry to expose next. See you in the next one.